Good evening, everybody. Live from French Lick. Welcome to LOCPOD.
Good evening.
It's a
we're in like an hour.
It's evening on the East Coast.
Eastern time, or 1 hour ahead.
Sorry.
It's like noon.
It's been a continuous blur since we got here to French Lick. We're live from French Lick, Indiana Democratic Editors Association. Democratic
on the porch.
Convention. This is probably the first podcast. I'm going to say it's the first podcast from the patio in French Lick history. I'm just going to go there.
You mean the porch?
From the patio.
From the porch.
I think the
From
first
the patio.
podcast ever in French Lick Resort.
I don't think I'm going to go there.
Okay.
There's got to be some random podcast.
I don't know.
going.
I'm John.
Think we're sort of defiling the place having a podcast right here.
No, this is a new thing for the porch. I mean, this place is like 100 and some years old.
Yeah, but
many years old.
They didn't have podcasts 100 years old, Kevin Smith.
That's true. So I say I'm with John though. We may be the first podcast from the French
Let's just
Lick
don't say
Resort
May.
porch.
Let's just don't say May. Here, let's just
we
we'll
are.
just edit this shit out, okay? All right, so let's just say right here. Good afternoon, everybody. Live from French Lick. This is the first podcast in French Lick history, right?
Ever.
I think so.
I like that better.
Okay.
Welcome back, by the way.
Hey, chat, can you hear us okay, by the way?
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. I missed you guys. We haven't been on the air in over a month, which is strange.
It's been great. I've had like several evenings of the week back.
It was nice,
a nice
too.
break.
You know what's crazy? Is like we all talk to each other often during the podcast.
Way off.
I haven't even seen you in like a month and a half, dude. It's great.
True.
I know.
It's great.
True story.
It
That's
is-
not
it's
an
great.
exaggeration.
It is great.
We went off the air, and I've talked to Tom like twice.
I was hoping to keep it that
And
way.
you don't seem sad.
This is wild.
It's been a crazy week. First of all, let's talk about French Lick a little bit because it was really nice for the resort to allow us to do this on the porch.
Yeah.
It's a famous place where people hang out. We're down here for a very big event. You want to get into that a little bit, why we're here and what we're here about?
Sure, but why don't we? I mean, do you mind if we talk about where Lindsay is and where Jill is first, or?
Well, they're not on this trip.
They are absent.
See, this is like the last vestige of a boys' trip that I have. We used to have when I first took over as mayor. This is 18 years ago.
Yeah.
We had a few things that we did with like a group of guys get
Sure.
together, and then slowly over time they started getting nicked away. Obviously,
Yeah,
we're
it
progressing.
happens.
We're progressing. Moving into 2021.
We're growing.
But this is it. This is all I got. So this is a boys' trip, and so like when you wonder where Lindsay or Jill is, that's the deal right now. But another thing, we usually have an RV on this trip, right?
That didn't happen either. It's usually filled with euchre games and getting ready to
A lot of gambling,
exciting.
a lot of alcohol.
There's not really any alcohol. Just
In the back there is. Kevin's like, no alcohol. The driver is
not
always,
allowed.
We always have the driver is always a really good commercial driver, right?
Absolutely.
Like usually the fire chief drives.
Someone
and-
that's driven a big engine.
That's right. And then everybody else is doing all right, playing euchre and stuff. But anyway, so we have no RV,
Blame it on the Chinese supply chain.
The supply chain is jacked up. They said we can get you that part in October. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's going to work. I'll be honest with you. So anyway, we're missing. But yeah, here we are on the patio of French Lick, Indiana at the resorts. For those of you that haven't been to French Lick, it's about an hour south of Bloomington.
Yeah, our south and west, right? I think.
Yeah,
And the
southwest.
thing of it, one thing I noticed that's just crazy about this area down here is that you are almost in the middle of the Hoosier National Forest, and if you don't know this part of Indiana, gorgeous, hilly. We're about to take a bike ride after
Hills.
the podcast. It is crazy hilly,
Yeah.
gorgeous,
I mean,
dense forest,
Kevin,
really, really
For
cool.
Indiana, it's crazy hilly. Don't be going.
True, I'm just saying for
I grew
Indiana.
I grew up in Cali. Remember?
Yeah. I'm saying for Indiana, this
Yeah,
is a
no.
very, really cool, beautiful place.
You know what's interesting is in Paoli, which is about 20 minutes from here, they used to have ski slopes before global warming. Now it's just a steep hill, But back in the day, they used to be able to.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They ski slopes down here?
Uh-huh. Paoli
Wow.
Peaks, right?
Paoli Peaks.
We drive
What?
right by it.
Wow.
Check it out when you're driving out through Paoli.
I
Yeah.
assume
that
they
was
went out of
before global.
business.
That was before
Right.
Trump. Before Trump took over as president.
Before Trump caused global warming.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now it
before
doesn't get a drop of snow anymore. So like
5 years ago, it was so snowy.
It was,
Paoli.
during the Obama presidency, it was white-capped mountains. Now it's just a hill and it's dry. It's all Trump's fault. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Oh, boy.
One of the
You just reminded me. I'm
Just
here
remember where you
surrounded.
are. Just remember where you are,
I
John
can't say
Besmar.
much.
That's right. That's right.
I can't say much this time. I'm
That's
surrounded
right.
by.
I love it.
yeah,
I love it, John.
Dems.
Hey, you look a little uncomfortable there, Vez.
It's been a weird weekend here. But you're right. It's so beautiful. I love it. But then I'm reminded, too, like, I'm just surrounded by liberals.
That's
Well,
right.
which is
Not
okay. You should be
liberals.
happy
I
about
love-
that.
I love
Democrats,
People
everyone.
that
John.
think, yeah.
I love
Yeah,
everyone.
just keep talking there, John. You're
People
gonna
that care
butt
about
kicked,
America.
Like John is going to be the first like guy that gets mugged in French Lick tonight.
Non-insurrectionists.
Yeah. It's like, how did Vesmar get chosen out of everybody staying in the resort to get beat up?
There hasn't been an
There's
assault
like,
and battery
what?
in French Lick in
That
10
guy
years.
must have been a real asshole. Like that's all I could say. Like
John gets jumped.
that's right.
No, the people have been great here.
Yeah,
Honestly,
French Lick is
so
awesome.
cool.
I love this trip. It's my favorite trip of the year. I love French Lick. Orange County. We went to the Orange County Democratic JJ dinner last night. It was awesome. The home cooked meal, right, Kevin?
I'll tell you.
It was at the VFW.
It was at the
VFW.
American Legion.
Oh, American Legion. My bad. Yeah.
And the folks that were there, Orange County Democrats, put on a heck of a show. It was farm to table. They said they had Amish chicken. The pork was from some local hog farm.
Paoli. It was from Paoli.
From
The
Paoli.
Paoli pork.
They had
Give me some of that Paoli pork. I
corn
said.
salad.
What's
that
up,
was
Kevin?
Awesome.
My favorite.
Wow.
My favorite.
Pastrick in the
Kevin
house.
Pastrick. Nice to see you, sir.
The Pastrick,
Such a handsome guy.
famous Pastrick.
And I see the
Sausage
former
was at
city
the
controller
golf
back there.
course.
Speaking of women on this trip,
Oh, I was just
how did
talking
she
about
get
her.
here?
You know,
Yeah.
this is a funny story. Since Heather's right behind us right now.
Shredder.
Yeah, so Heather was the city controller for the city of Hammond, and she constantly gave me crap because she wanted to come on this trip. And I said, Heather, this is a guy's trip. Like, it's the only thing I got, Heather. And Heather's super cool. Hey, Mayor Hogsett, how's it going?
Oh my goodness!
we're
Hello,
good.
Mayor Joe
How are ya? Good to
Hogsett
see
comes.
ya.
Nice to see you, sir.
Hogsett in the
Joe, why
house.
don't you come on in? We don't want to keep the great mayor waiting. Nice to see you, Mayor. Hey, everybody give it up for Mayor Joe Hogsett. Nice to see you. I love this.
This is great.
It's like people are just walking through like, hey, it's Mayor Hogsett. Check that out. How you doing, Mayor Joe?
I'm doing fine, Mayor. I'm sorry I'm running a little late.
You look
but,
great.
I'm on French Lick time.
I love it. It's really cool about French Lick is you get to see like mayors of large cities walking around in flip flops. You just don't get to see these kind of things every day, right,
Yeah,
Mayor?
it's our it's traditionally our one weekend when we can get together as political leaders and political partisans and relax a little bit.
You're like,
Well, I'll tell you, Mayor Joe, haven't heard him. I mean, he's a well-known fire him up public speaker, right?
yeah.
And it's been a little bit of time. We're like pandemic. We don't get out to rallies and things like that like we used to. But Mayor Joe rallied the troops at the Orange County JJ last night.
I'm next.
And then they
And I'm next. I'm like, thanks, Mayor Joe. I was gonna have a couple people between us. You killed it last night.
No, but I'm sure
it was so fun to hear you speak again.
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't mean to
Outshine?
get in front of you.
You're the best, Mayor Joe.
but,
I'm like, this guy's been doing it since the 1980s.
Well,
you know,
since the
great elected
1980s.
official, and he shows like how much of a natural. You walk in that room, you shook every Democratic hand in the room to a couple hundred people.
Yeah. Always get to the front. Rule one is get to the front of the food line.
Not to eat though.
Because everybody's going to go through the food line, and
see these tips.
I'm
did
sure.
that.
Look,
He
Mayor,
did that
I'm
too.
sure that when I left, you gave them the what for. So I have
Mayor
no
Joe,
doubt
you-
that they were excited about Tom McDermott Jr. being in the house.
Mayor Joe, you said something last night that struck me. You said this is your 30-somethings Orange County JJ.
Yeah.
That's super impressive.
Yeah, I've been coming down here since I want to say, and boy, this is going to really date me. Since Wayne Townsend was running for governor
Really?
back in the early '80s.
Oh my goodness!
and,
what is this?
Matt Reardon. Matt Reardon,
Matt
nice to see you,
Reardon's in the
sir.
house.
Nice to see you.
Good to see
My
you,
golf
brother.
partner yesterday. Nice to see you, sir.
You on the way home? Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Safe
all right, see you,
travels.
brother.
All
Thanks for yesterday.
See you tomorrow.
Later,
All right.
Matt.
Yeah, I mean it's a tradition, and we all come to French Lick. Last year, of course, we couldn't because of COVID, but every other year since the early '80s, I've been coming down for the weekend, and it's just a great time to see everybody. You know, we've always throughout the entire time I've been coming down here, there's always been a significant Northwest Indiana contingent. Now, today they come in no small measure because of the leadership you provided the city of Hammond.
Oh, Mayor Joe.
Back in the day, give props where they're due.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Bob Pastrick was an icon down here.
And they still.
And still is.
Right.
The Pastricks still come,
And the sausage.
and the sausage is always delivered on time.
To the golf outing. It's tradition.
But the point is that even though we're tucked...
Look at that, right? Look, just like that.
There's-
wow.
there's the
Kevin Pastrick. We were just talking about. Hi, everybody.
Talking
Kevin
about the
Pastrick.
Pastricks.
All right,
Kevin.
KP.
Kevin, jump in real quick here. Grab this.
Hello.
Talking about the sausage, Mayor Joe.
Oh, the sausage is from Hammond, Indiana.
That's right.
MJ's. MJ's.
And your dad, I was just saying, when I first started coming down to French Lick, there were really 3 icons, right?
Okay.
Larry Conrad,
Oh, yeah.
former Secretary of State, candidate for governor, Bob Pastrick, mayor of East Chicago, and Everett Land.
Oh, Everett Land was the man.
He was the
I don't
head
remember
of the,
Everett Land.
Well, Everett was the head of the Springs Valley Bank.
Yep.
He was thick as thieves with Larry and Mayor Pastrick.
No kidding.
And between the 3 of them, they kept this event alive for many, many,
So
many
Everett
years.
was an officer when my father was president of the Young Democrats.
Right.
And that's how they got to know each other.
Wow.
So they,
never-
back in those days, Young Democrats around the state, they would have these conventions, and they were really like socials. I mean, people got married there. They would meet their girlfriends, and I mean, they were more
Kevin,
like
when was your
socials.
first IDA? How long have you been coming? Since you were a little
There
kid,
was a
right?
pool in the front yard.
Pool was in the front.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Pool
Yeah.
was in the
I've
front.
only done it 18, 20 years.
See,
Well,
let's see.
I think that just goes to show you, though, guys, about how important French Lick is to the Democratic Party. It was important
Crazy.
back then.
I know.
It's important today, and we were talking about this. It was a different vibe this year. I felt maybe it's just we didn't get
Kevin,
to do it
there's no
last
doubt
year.
about that. There's no
maybe
doubt
it's
about
because
that.
we're fired up, we're ready, but I think you could feel the difference, and people are ready to go.
And
They're ready to go.
Mike Schmuel was supposed to be on with us this morning. He couldn't do it, but I tell you what, I'm super impressed with him, Mayor Joe. I know you were a big proponent of his right off the bat when he was running for chair, right?
Yeah, I think he's the right person at the right time. Look, we've taken our lumps over the last several elections, not necessarily mayoral elections, but in the off year and the presidential year, they haven't been very good. But I think that Mike's experience, not only working at the congressional level, but having run Mayor Pete's presidential campaign, he is uniquely well qualified and well positioned to lead a party that is in need of leadership. The other thing, Kevin, about French Lick is it's a great place to vet prospective candidates.
and we're going to get into that in a minute.
Okay, all right. I don't want
Kevin, thanks for coming by, bud.
Thank you for letting
Awesome.
me jump
Kevin,
in here.
Kevin, you're the best.
It
Man.
wouldn't be the same without
Listen,
the Pastrick family.
2 best mayors in the state of
I
Indiana
like to
right
think
here.
so,
Unbelievable.
Of course, we have a
Well,
couple other great
be
mayors
careful.
coming on too.
Well,
We got some else. We
Hold
got some
on,
more
yeah,
coming
Clint
up.
Lamb's coming
I
along.
understand John sure knew how to throw some dice last night.
That's right.
Oh yeah, good job, John.
All right.
But you hear
thanks,
that,
Kev.
Amy? John's gonna come home with a little extra money, so make sure.
No.
All right.
No.
I like
He'll give it all back tonight. Don't worry.
John, did you win or lose?
Well, there's still one night left. I'll leave it at that.
The jury's out, Mayor. So I wanted to, before, Mayor Joe, I wanted to ask you one thing because I wanted to, keep going back to what a great speech you gave last night. But what is the message that you think you gave yesterday and continue to give to Democrats around the state to keep us ready to go and fired up? Because we are, statewide dealing with a supermajority in the House and the Senate. All the statewide offices are held by Republicans. How do we keep ourselves motivated? How do we keep our message on tact and ready to go?
Well, and I think Chairman Schmaltz said it absolutely correctly. You got to start at the grassroots level. You got to re-energize and reinvigorate the activists. But at the end of the day, my suggestion to anyone who's thinking about running in 2022 is you got to define yourself for who you are, what you stand for, what you represent, what's important to you, why you're running, what you seek to accomplish if you're elected, and most importantly, don't let your opponents define who you are. And I think too often, most recently in the 2020 elections, I think Democrats did poorly in many areas of the state simply because they allowed our friends on the other side of the political aisle to define who they were, even though there was really no direct relationship.
Well, like one of the things you said last night, you went around, when you were up front in a crowd of 250, 300 people, and you said, let me see a show of hands. Who in this room wants to defund the police?
That's right. It's true.
Any hands go up?
No hands go up. And then I ask them, and by the way, while we're here, how many in this room are socialists?
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, I almost got thrown out of the American Legion on my ear, when I said that. But so often in the last campaign, I mean, I heard candidates from our party being described exclusively as, people who believe in socialism, however that's defined, and people who just simply want to eliminate law enforcement altogether.
Yep.
Well, as a mayor, that notion is preposterous.
It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely preposterous. In fact, I just introduced a budget for the city of Indianapolis for operating 2022 that not only increases our commitment to IMPD and to IFD, the fire department,
for you.
and to IEMS, the
Good for you.
emergency medical system. So across the board in the area of public safety, but we're also using dollars that we're getting from the American Rescue Plan. And fortunately for Indianapolis, we were awarded $420 million.
It's amazing. I know.
And
our
we're
US
not
senators
going to
voted.
spend that in 1 year. We've got a 3-year plan, and $150 million of that $420 million is going to increasing public safety.
Good for you,
They're
Mayor.
going to root causes of crime, addressing poverty, and frankly, investing in neighborhood and community groups whose sole purpose is to eradicate and prevent violence from occurring throughout their neighborhoods.
And that's money that's sorely needed in cities. And we had 7
Yeah.
of our 9 congressmen and both U.S. senators vote against it.
That's right.
right.
By the way, I hadn't been in Indy during the pandemic. Obviously, we weren't down there for a while, and I went a couple months ago, a month and a half ago, and the red line going down the main drag coming into the city. That's amazing what you've
Public
done down there.
transportation's unbelievable in
I
Indy
tell
right
you,
now.
you have like a whole dedicated lane now for public transportation, and it goes both directions on the streets. It's just really incredible what you're doing down there, Mayor.
Frankly, for Indianapolis, it's long overdue. And not only did you notice, obviously, the red line, which really goes from north to south, but we're in the process of beginning construction of what we're calling the purple line that essentially will take people who work downtown all the way from the Fort Bend, Lawrence, Indiana area down Post Road to 38th Street, over 38th Street, and then downtown. So it'll get workers.
It's like a little
from-
subway station on the street.
And then ultimately, the blue line will run east to west.
That's amazing.
So it'll take workers from as far east as Cumberland, which is almost in Hancock County, all the way over to the airport on the west side.
Well,
So-
congrats on that, Mayor Joe. And before we let you go, I just got to ask you, what do you think about this guy throwing his hat in the ring?
I'm glad Tom's down here. I'm sure he's still in the exploratory stage.
Yes, sir.
I know he's.
We're trying to
I
get
know he's
signatures.
sensitive to the fact that there are other candidates down here this very weekend who are looking at the race. But look, the strengths that Tom McDermott Jr. brings to this race really can't be denied, and that is he has served as mayor of one of our state's largest cities, as the chief executive for since 2003 when he was first elected. He's well known in Northwest Indiana, which is always a good start and a good basis of support. He moves around the state with COVID precautions. He moves around the state as well as anybody I've seen. And I think that his chances, if he decides
Thank you,
that
Mayor.
this is what he ultimately wants to do, I think his chances of winning our party's nomination are good. And I certainly know that if he happens to be the party's nominee, he would be an outstanding and competitive candidate in the fall of 2022.
Thank you, Mayor Joe. I appreciate you.
You've got the experience. You're battle tested. Look, you and I share a common background. We've had our share of victories.
Yes, sir.
In my case, I've had more than one setback. You've had a setback. And frankly, I think that makes you a stronger candidate.
I'll be honest with you, Mayor Joe. I think it's good for the soul.
You learn more when you are not successful than at any time when you are
It's
successful.
funny. I agree with you, Mayor Joe.
We were just
It's
talking
weird.
about
It's
that.
been a
And,
weird year, and it's been a good. I think for Tom McDermott, it's mental. I think it was a really good year for me. I really took
Well,
an outside look at
if it's
myself.
any consolation, and it's probably not, I've listened to the podcast with regularity.
We appreciate that.
And I know you went through that period
did.
of reflection.
live on the air.
With the microphone in his face.
That's
Well,
putting it lightly.
about,
Reflection.
about some of
That's
the
polite.
some of the ups and some of the downs. I said if it's any consolation, you endured one setback. before I decided to run for mayor of the city of Indianapolis back in 2015, I had been on the ballot 4 times, and I was 1 for 3.
Yeah, but you were also U.S. attorney.
Well,
and
I'd served as U.S. attorney.
Didn't hurt
Hillary
either.
Clinton's campaign
But
manager.
I like to remind my constituents that because they've been kind enough to elect me mayor both in 2015 and re-elect me in 2019, I'm now 3 and 3.
There you go.
With
500, baby.
500.
Which, by the way, in,
Hall of Fame
in
numbers.
baseball,
That's
would
better
get you
than
in the Hall of Fame.
That's better than the Cubs. Right.
I was
Mayor.
going to say.
Mayor,
One
we-
of my favorite Mayor Joe jokes before we leave,
Yep.
and I know he borrowed this from other people, but he comes out and he said, "Welcome to Indiana. We're
South Bend's in the north.
South Bend's in the north.
South Bend is in the north. North Vernon is in the south. And French Lick ain't anywhere near as exciting as it sounds.
You gotta love Mayor Joe.
Mayor Joe, thanks for coming on.
Good to
buddy.
see you, sir.
Real
Hey,
good
give it up
seeing
for
you.
Mayor
Hey,
Joe.
I'm glad
Mayor
to
Joe
be
Hogsett.
here.
Good to see
Yeah,
you, sir.
Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
All
Good
right.
to see you. You
Thanks,
know,
Mayor.
we got Drew over here. You want to bring on Drew?
Yeah, let's get Drew Anderson.
Hi, Drew. Come on over.
Get on
Nice to
up.
see
Mayor,
you.
here's your folder.
I love Drew Anderson.
Get
Don't
this
forget
to-
this, Mayor Joe. Mayor Joe. There you go, sir.
Come on in,
Hi,
Drew.
Drew. What's going on? Have a seat, my man. Nice to see you.
One of our favorite dudes.
Oh dear God.
Let's see that Indiana tattoo on your arm there. This is true
That's-
blue, man.
that's
This
right.
guy's
That's
not
right.
joking around.
I'm a diehard,
Where's yours,
y'all.
John?
What?
Hoosier for life.
It's on my lower
Welcome back
back.
to French Lake, Drew.
Oh, it's great
Wait,
being
the
back.
tramp
Actually,
stamp.
before we
No,
start,
stamp.
how big of sailors can we be when we talk?
You what?
I have a sailor's mouth, so how much
Come
can
on,
we go?
man.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just
Drew,
want to
come
make
on
sure.
now.
Just want
Come
to
on,
make sure.
you're talking to the wrong guy for that.
So
I
Drew-
know, but sometimes my mouth gets a little loud. So.
No,
You can do whatever
This
you
is a
want, man.
podcast.
You're on lock.
This is a podcast. You can say
everything
anything.
goes
Yeah.
here. So Drew Anderson is
It's all
the
right.
Indiana State Party Director of Communications. Am I
Yes,
right
sir.
about that?
Yes, sir.
So
So
if you're
every
reading a tweet or Facebook post or
all those
Communication.
emails that you're like, again, I support the party. Why am I getting this? Why am I getting another email? It's from Drew Anderson
Sorry, guys.
and your staff.
seriously, we were talking about it all weekend, honestly, and we're not just saying this because you're here. There's a different energy in the air. Coming to French Lick this year, just
Chairman Shmuel, Lauren Gannapini put on a hell of a event here,
Yeah.
and her staff.
Yeah.
And Drew, do you feel it?
I mean, I've been feeling it on the road when we've been, crisscrossing the state. We've done 2 statewide tours, the American Rescue Plan Tour and the American Jobs Plan Tour. It's because of the leadership of Mike Schmuel.
I agree.
And of Lauren
And getting on
Gannapini.
offense. I
Yeah,
keep hearing him
yeah.
say, "We are on offense," and I think that's important.
And it's important because we have to remember where we. Let's flash back to 10 years ago, when Barack Obama was in the White House. We had the House, we had the Senate. We passed the Affordable Care Act.
That's right.
We passed the Recovery Act, and then what did we do? We thought that voters would understand
that's right.
that we got shit done and that they would reward us for it.
2010.
But what was our error? We did not understand that the other side was hell-bent on making sure that we didn't succeed. And we
They
didn't
did
put
a
the
good
effort.
job at it.
Yeah, yeah.
They
So
sure
knowing,
did. Give them credit.
yeah, so knowing our shortcomings a decade ago, I went up to Mike when we all assembled. I'm like, man, let's hit the road. And he's like, hell
love it.
yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
love
been
it.
good. It's been good.
Yeah.
And we've been everywhere. We've been big counties like Lake.
Yeah.
You were. Thank you for lending your voice for our
My pleasure.
American Rescue Plan tour stop. We had like 150 people.
Yeah,
that
was a big one,
it
right?
Yeah, I won
dope,
that
dope
bet.
event.
Everybody was low on it.
I was
said,
on
we're
it.
going to get our
honestly
people
because
out.
I'd seen but Lake County we came through.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
real
mean-
good job.
Yeah.
Chairman Weezer,
Chairman
everybody's ready to
Weezer,
go.
all you have to do is just ask Chairman Weezer, hey man, can we do something? He's like,
What was your
"Yep."
first campaign you worked on?
Oh God, first paid or volunteer?
Whatever. Like when you were, how did you know you were going to get into politics?
I was going to be a journalist actually.
Really?
And
That's
yeah,
funny.
Yeah, and what happened was this man named Barack Obama came around. Do you know him?
I think I heard him. I've heard of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little gentleman. He did his campaign in 2008, and I was in a fraternity at the time. And some random friend who was a part of the campaign in 2008 called me, and she said, "You're in a frat, right?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah,
Sure, you're at Bloomington.
yeah, Bloomington, you know."
Look at that hat.
And I said, hell yeah. And she's like, we need you to help out with the OFA campaign. So they plugged me into that. But also, they let me really work on Barron's reelect.
Oh, okay.
And so I got
Barron
best of
Hill?
both worlds.
Yeah. Barron Hill.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
congressman
Barron
at
Hill.
the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Right.
And
Is that you meet Zodi at the time then, the former chairman?
actually, I didn't meet Zodi until 2 years later.
Okay.
On
'Cause
the,
I
on-
thought Zodi
yeah.
was chief of staff for him.
He was, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right,
So,
right, yeah.
oh wait, I was a sophomore in college, y'all. So I was still
Gotcha.
a little baby. But got hooked up there and kind of got hooked because, oh wait, nothing you could put a D next to your name and you could have won anything, you know?
Right.
So that was one of those elections where I got hooked, and then, my first paid gig, I was super fortunate to work for Obama's reelect in 2012.
So you got hired by
Chicago.
Obama for it.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
It was
Look
a
at you.
great experience.
So, Drew, fast forward to today, right? We're 2021,
Yep.
and as a communications director, I know that messaging is so essential to, everything is social media, everything is digital.
Yes,
How,
sir.
explain to us, in as basic terms as you can for two guys up from Hammond,
You guys more than,
about
you know more than you know.
messaging and why it's important for us as a party.
It's important because kind of what the mayor said when he was sitting right here. You have to define yourself, and you have to define your opponent before they do. And going what we know from 10 years ago, they defined us before we got to define our successes. And I do not want that to happen again.
Let me ask you a question, Drew. So if you're running against Todd Young, what kind of things do you bring up? Because
Hypothetically.
everybody, huh?
Hypothetically.
Yeah. No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of people are like, Mayor, this guy's like an ATM machine. He raises so much money. He's going to raise $100 million if it takes $100 million. So what do you do if you're running against a guy like that?
A couple things. One, you have to understand that if you're running against Todd Young, he is in the back pocket of the Republican D.C. establishment.
Absolutely, right?
He is
Firmly in
their
the back pocket.
favorite guy because he is the yes man.
Right.
And so what you need to know about Todd Young is that if it's politically harmful to the Republican Party, he is going to be against it.
And he's shown that.
He's shown
He's
it. Look
shown
at
it
his
just recently.
flip-flop. Look
That's
at
right.
his
The
flip-flop.
flip-flop is exactly
and
that.
That's
his
right.
excuse for flip-flopping was honestly the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, he busted his ass to be at the seat of the table. He tried to be this bipartisan leader.
And you're talking about the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, the
Right.
infrastructure bill, and then all of a sudden,
Then he got scared.
when it got time to vote, Donald Trump probably called him saying, "If you vote against or if you vote for this,
You're gonna
I'm
get
primarying you."
That's right.
And so he flipped.
Yeah. It was the
And-
same day Donald Trump puts out a tweet.
Yeah,
And then
and-
he just totally flip-flops.
Exactly. And here's the
He
irony
blames it
of all
on debt
this.
or 256 billion.
Everything
Correct.
costs money.
Correct. But here's the irony of all this. Let's go 10,000 foot. Todd Young is just like every other congressional Republican in the state. They are afraid of being primaried, and the hypocritical part to everything is that they travel the state claiming they care about broadband. They travel the state claiming to care about roads and bridges and filling in potholes. But kind of like Mayor Lamb says,
Who's
"Hey,
coming
Mayor,
on next?
Coming on next.
what he says, potholes is not a Republican or Democratic issue,
right.
but they're making it that.
Yeah.
And so they travel the state telling Hoosiers that they care about these issues, but then when it comes to actually voting, they say no because of fictitious narratives that they just need to
And then
want
later try to
create.
take credit for it. I mean,
Correct,
that we
yeah.
just
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
we have to stay on offense.
Well,
have
they'll
to
show
stay
up. They
on
vote
Exactly.
against the infrastructure bill,
Yep.
and then they show up to the ribbon cuttings. It's like, come on, right?
But
This
here's
shouldn't be
the other
allowed.
thing to remember, too, because the Republicans, they've already showed their hand. They are going to say from now until next November that Democrats are spending way too much money. They did not say a damn thing when they let Donald Trump blow up the national deficit by $8 trillion.
Absolutely, right?
They didn't say a damn thing
That's right.
when they let their rich buddies get a tax cut.
They're also going to talk about inflation.
Yeah,
And, like, the
yeah.
inflation doesn't just happen overnight. Like, Donald Trump had nothing to do with that, right? It's so insincere, their campaign.
They have become so partisan to where they literally stand for nothing. And usually that's just like campaign talk. No, it's legitimately they stand for nothing.
Drew, I remember when I first ran for mayor of Hammond.
Yeah.
Part of when you're running against anything, you're always bringing up the bad points. Which, and I remember the mayor at the time was saying, the guy doesn't even love Hammond. Everything he brings up is negative against. I really, unfortunately, feel that in our country right now. Is President Biden's trying to move the country forward. We're trying to do the right thing, and the Republicans want nothing but failure. Because if failure happens to America, Biden looks bad, and that's good for their
All
party.
right, if success happens to America, they don't want to be on board
So
with
they
it
don't-
because they're
that's
afraid
right,
that
correct.
Biden's going to get
Then
all the
Biden
credit,
gets the
and they'll be
but
left in. Yeah.
We all don't take a step back and say, if success happens to America, that's great for all of us, right? Because we're Americans.
And
That's the
that's-
thing that bugs me.
And that's what we're trying to say is the Indiana Democratic Party. And this is why I'm so damn happy that Mike Schmuel's leading the team, is that him and I both agree is that the best kind of government isn't one-sided. It's actually forming substantial federal and state relationships,
That's right.
regardless of the party, to get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
And I am more than happy to let the Republicans try to, say that they expanded broadband if they actually voted bipartisanly, you know? But
Right.
they don't.
Right.
But they don't. And so what they try to do is hide the brand of the American Rescue Plan inside the state budget and then try to claim that they're getting all this stuff done when we both know it was Democrats that got it done.
Well, Drew, I got to tell you, we love having you in charge of all those emails and all that
it makes
communication.
me feel
Are we
good.
done already?
And all that
Are we done already?
I
I
got
was just
Mayor
getting
Clint.
started.
I got
Wow,
Mayor
what a
Clint.
segue,
If
Kevin.
it's the mayor,
I know,
yes.
you
if
know,
it's
we
We
the
got
It's
Mayor
a
mayor,
Clint
mayor thing.
eyeballing me. I got
It's
to
the
get him in here and
mayor.
talk about that new hairdo.
Drew
So
Anderson,
I
thank
can't
you
wait to
for
get
what you
Mayor
did.
Thank
Clint
you,
on here.
sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you very much. That's Drew
Yeah.
Anderson. What's the title? Communication?
Communications director, sir.
Communications
Anderson
director
is the best.
of the Indiana Democratic
Thank you, my
Party.
You guys
friend.
are too kind.
Good to
You
see you,
can,
Drew.
you
Give
can
it up for
follow
Drew,
him
everybody.
at Anderson Drew on
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
Twitter. At
All
Anderson
right.
Drew.
At Anderson Drew on
We got a
Twitter.
mayor
It's a
backlog
great
here.
follow. Where is
Yeah.
Mayor Clint?
Well, let's go. Mayor
I've never
Clint, how's
seen
it going?
so many mayors
This
on
guy
one
is
porch.
famous, especially in French Lick.
Nice to see you, Mr. Mayor. How's it going? Come on in.
Come on in, Mayor Clint. Good to see you, brother.
How are you? How are you?
Have a seat.
How the heck are you?
We're good. Mayor Clint on the porch. So Mayor Clint,
Yes.
How long of a
Lamb
drive
is
from
the-
Sullivan? I was estimating 45 minutes. Is that too
Oh
short?
no, it's a little bit,
Little bit
longer
more?
than that. As the
Good.
crow flies,
Yeah.
you could probably get here in about
Sorry.
20.
you got to
story.
say that down.
But I'm
See,
not
where
a
I'm from,
crow,
it's all-
I'm a lamb.
I love it. I love
I
it.
walk,
That's
I
it.
don't
The Mayor
fly.
Clint Lamb. You were elected in 2007, if I remember correctly.
2011.
2011.
The
So
class of
third term.
2011.
Class of
Third
2011.
The class
term.
of 2011.
Mayor Clint
the
and I
class
are-
with Mayor Pete.
There you go.
That's
That's
a good
right.
point. Yeah.
I-
Why
real
didn't you
quick
run,
before
why didn't you
I
run for
forget.
president?
On
look
behalf
at
of the
that.
city of Sullivan
Thank you. I love
and
this.
its fine residents, we know you live by the city's motto, you take time to care.
I take time
So
to
I would
do
like
that.
to present you.
So wonderful. I love
This-
Mayor Clint. He's one of my favorite mayors in the state. Him and I have kindred spirits. Is that fair
Absolutely.
to say?
We're a little passionate.
I know Mayor Clint
It's
came
passion.
up. It's passion. Is that what it is? Mayor Clint came up to me one of the first times we met, and he goes, "You know, we know a lot of the same people." I was like, "Yeah, I heard the same thing." He goes, "You remember this?" You go, "They describe me as the Tom McDermott of the South." I go, "I don't know if that's good, Mayor. I'll be honest with
Wow.
Well, just depends, you know.
Now, let me ask
One
you, know,
subject.
Mayor Clint, one of the things I think that's real interesting is Sullivan's a city of about how many people?
The city of Sullivan, and I always have to
Or
go
the
into
greater
this, right?
metropolitan
yeah,
area
the,
of Sullivan,
The city
I
of
should say.
Sullivan, unfortunately, not to get into this, but you, as a mayor, you'll appreciate this, has not annexed since 1956.
Whoa.
So our corporate limits
Yeah.
show us about 4,200.
Yeah.
We service about 8,000.
Look at you.
All right.
Right.
And this is in what? Southwestern
Yeah,
Indiana?
Terre Haute is our favorite suburb.
There you go.
Nice.
Boom. There
Terre
you go.
Haute's just to the north.
Terre Haute's just to the north.
Right.
Mayor Duke Bennett loves it when I say that.
I bet,
when
I bet,
declare
I bet,
Terre
yeah.
Haute's our favorite
So
suburb.
you're almost due west of where we are right now, right?
Yeah, we are on the Illinois border along
Yeah,
the Wabash
that's right.
River.
There you go.
So do
So
you get
city
like-
of Sullivan, county seat of
So
Sullivan
do you get
County.
like all the Illinois BS too? You know, all the people coming over for fireworks and stuff like that. Do you get the lower taxes? Do you get that? I mean, I
Cigarettes.
get that constantly. Obviously, I got Chicago right next door to me.
Sure, our region between Terre Haute and Vincennes, we have had some people come over across the line.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, our part of the state needs to do a heck of a lot better job of marketing that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, but there's several companies. Mayor Joe Yoakum,
Mm-hmm.
great mayor down in the city of Vincennes. He's got some companies from Lawrenceville come over. But there's some folks that come back and forth.
So, Mayor Clint, I think if you just ask somebody on the street up north, they'd say, "Oh yeah, it's all Republican down south. It's all Republican down south." But you've been successful as a Democratic mayor in what most folks would consider to be a southern county in the
It's
state.
definitely red county. I mean, it's definitely red
so
country down here.
tell
and,
us what the secret is.
Right.
And I'm not just saying it because I'm on with Mayor Tom, but back in 2011 when the state party kind of put together a little initiative where some of the candidates came in, I'll never forget Mayor McDermott stood up and spoke that day. And, he said a lot of things, and they always say, you don't always remember what they say, but you'll always remember how they made you feel. And I will never forget when Mayor McDermott said, look, we can throw out strategy, we can help you, we can do all these things. He goes, but at the end of the day, be the champion of your city.
You rock, dude. I love
There
it.
it
That's
is.
exactly what he said, and
I
I
do.
never
I remember
forgot
that.
being a Notre Dame grad.
Thank you.
Every day when the team comes out, right before game time, boom, play like a champion.
I have one of those in my office. I play champion like a mayor today.
because
That's what it
we can debate politics
Mayor
all
like a
day long,
champion.
but he loves his people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And really, that's what it's all about.
Mayor
Right?
Clint,
Taking care of people, getting back to the basics, and taking time to care genuinely, not political BS, but just being a champion every single day. For the past 4 years, a lot of my friends, like you said, I'm in a red county.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of Republican supporters,
For
a lot
sure.
of Trump supporters.
You got
and,
to.
and they're great people. We they support, but I think Because for the last 4 years, we've heard America first. Well, I say Sullivan first.
Good for you.
And you say Hammond
Oh,
first.
for sure.
And I think that's what, being a champion in our communities, and thank goodness municipal elections are in off years.
Yes, sir.
Still about municipal issues.
Yeah, you're right.
And at the end of the day, look, I said, I'm not here to debate national health care with you. Mm-hmm. But if you love Sullivan like I love Sullivan, let's go do this.
There you go.
And you've done a great job.
You-
I met a couple
unbelievable
of your
job.
residents just randomly last night, and I was just like, yeah, Mayor Clint and I are real good friends, and they love you. It was crazy. They're like, he saved our city. Like, he is the best mayor we've ever had. I mean, I'm telling you, Clint, you're doing a great job down there. Like, I just like meeting random people, like not part of the party.
I had him staged.
Did you? You did a great job.
I'm like, Mayor Tom's going to
he's
come
right
down
over
and do
there.
a
He's right
survey.
over
I
there.
saw that bus
You
from
can't miss it.
Sullivan
Matter of fact,
come
if
on
you're-
in.
Whoa. Hello.
We're done. See, they're out to get me.
John, we're back.
We're back.
No
Are we
clue
still?
what that
Are we
was.
still?
I,
It's all right.
Are we popping breakers?
We're popping
we're doing
breakers.
something.
Check. You know, the broadband issues are really bad in southern Indiana. Like, are we
John's
still
gonna
on
get
air?
us.
What about that infrastructure bill
Sputtering.
again?
Yeah, so we're badly in need of infrastructure and broadband in particular in southern Indiana. Check.
What's going on?
I don't know.
It's time to thank our
We
sponsors.
walk in, we mic
Yeah.
drop, shut the show down.
Hey, is that Todd Young over there? What the hell are you doing with that breaker? Like,
For the record, the live stream's not affected. It's the sound. I don't
so
know
yeah,
what that was
you
about.
know, we just got to put up with glitches. We're in southern Indiana. There's a lot going on right now. We're just doing our best here. So
I'm gonna go check the outlet real quick.
There you go.
Right. Thank you, John.
Vesmar.
Yeah.
We'll be checking the outlets.
So anyway, so what's big? You just got census results back, I imagine, right? That was super stressful for me.
It is. The census results back, and they can be a little misleading because, like. Keep talking. All right.
Yeah,
Just
that
keep
sounds
talking,
good
keep
online.
yelling.
They
Okay.
could hear us, yeah.
All right, sounds good. So, like the city of Sullivan, obviously over the last decade, it was no different than all of rural America, right? This isn't a Sullivan, Indiana issue. This is all over America. You see folks, a lot of people say, well, Mayor Clint, how do you feel about immigration? I said, well, I'm not really concerned about it. I'm concerned about migration.
There you
That's
go.
right.
And that's
right.
the talented, that's the mass exodus of talented young people. That's the big white elephant in the room, right? We graduate 150 kids from Sullivan High School every year,
Yep.
and we send our brightest. It's a great export.
Where are they going? Are they going to the city or?
They go everywhere, and just
Yeah.
look at the population maps, and it's what every mayor is fighting, right? We're doing
yeah.
everything we can to increase the quality of life in our communities.
A lot of my residents are moving to Crown Point, and I got Mayor Crown Point right over
Right,
there. So,
I think
yeah.
so.
That's
But
why
it's
he's
quality of
smiling.
life, right?
Half my fire department lives there. It's crazy.
There you go. That's leadership. That's leadership,
It's
Mayor.
leadership. Great job, Mayor Dave.
Thief.
Get your best material ready, Uran. I'm coming at you.
Right. But I just think, like we talked about earlier, you just champion your cause. The population did over the decade gradually decline. However, in 1980, when the Hoosier Energy Power Plant was built in Sullivan County kind of hit a peak at that time. A lot of folks, a lot of organized labor workers were coming in, boilermakers, steam fitters, iron workers were building that power plant, and the population increased at that time. But unfortunately, just like the rest of rural America, we saw a gradual decline. So, you walk into these offices, and you're sitting here taking care of decades of just people that have given up. And it's not just economically given up, it's a hopelessness, right? Mm-hmm. You've been told you're poor, you've been told it's over, and you hear that over and over and over again. So we had to come in and not only economically try to inject, but just to raise the spirits. So you'll appreciate this story. Back in 2017, I'm sitting in the mayor's office. I get a phone call from a North Central Indiana mayor, Mayor Goodnight.
Uh-huh.
Kokomo.
Friend of all of ours.
That's right. He picks up the phone and he says, "Hey, Mayor, I just wanted to call you and wish you congratulations." I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "You gained one citizen last year." And I'm like, "You smart ass." Really, one citizen? He goes, "No, you don't understand.
That's it.
If you stop the exodus, if you
no
just
doubt.
get to zero,
Yeah.
you're winning." And that's sad that we've settled for that as mediocrity, right? Just
Yeah.
settle for 0. Mm-hmm. But each year since then, we've upticked 4 citizens, 11 citizens,
for
11.
you.
So while the overall census, I'm proud to say for the 4th straight year, the little city of Sullivan, we're continuing to increase our population with
rock,
housing,
dude.
with quality of life. And one last Mayor Tom story I'll never forget.
Yeah.
He said, we were at that day, and he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "We can talk about the economics, all these things about being mayor. But what really set out," he said, "at the end of the day, when you pull up to a park and you remember what that park used to look like,
That's awesome. I totally remember saying
and
that.
it was totally
True.
junked out.
Yeah.
I had that same vision when I came into the city of Sullivan. We had an old elementary school.
Yep, Riley
and it
School for me.
screamed defeat, right? It had been vacant for 15 years, and you're asking folks to take time to care and give back, and you've got the big white elephant right there in the middle of your city.
Yep, man.
And you're saying, hey, Mr. Citizen, you need to clean up.
Clean
And
up
they're
your
going,
yard. Yep.
They're going, really?
Right.
So we partnered with the Office of Community Rural Affairs. We got a $500,000 grant. I said, this isn't just going to be a handout. This is going to be investment in the city of Sullivan. We got the $500,000. We put $2.3 million in the Sullivan Civic
Wow.
Center.
That's
and it's
great.
where it all started all over again. It's where we were educated. It's where we were inspired. We met each other. The community's character was built there.
When did you know you were going to be mayor? Like, when did you know? Like, you wanted
85,
to be-
86,
like,
kindergarten.
So you knew. Did you? Honestly, God, that's a great
True story.
No, I know. Like, I actually remember my dad called me and said, hey, you should think about running for mayor. And I was like, are you crazy? Like, mayor, my first office? Right. It was your first also, right?
I'd served on the city council. Before
Okay.
that, I'd served on the park board. And
So you knew all along you were running for mayor of Sullivan.
85, 86 school year.
Get out of
Haley's
here.
comment year, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I was in kindergarten. I remember they went around the classroom. And
I
they
was in
said,
freaking senior in high school then. Thank you. Oh, I was in kindergarten. Oh, thanks.
and they said, students, what do you want to do? I want to be a police officer. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a doctor. I want this and that. I said, I want to be the mayor.
That's awesome.
And she says, well, what do? I said, they get things done, and they make people's lives better.
That's
Well,
awesome,
the
man.
passion,
And that's really what it is
the
at the end of the
passion
day.
I love listening to Mayor Clint.
No, Mayor Clint's
because
the best.
The passion he shows about Sullivan is
Yep.
the passion that we need in all our cities around the state. Mayor Clint, it's always good to see you, man.
Good to see
Thank
you,
you
Mayor
for
Clint.
stopping
Thank you so
by.
much.
Mayor Clint Lamb.
You do a
Appreciate it.
great
Let's
job.
give him a round of
Sullivan.
applause,
God bless.
everybody. Yeah.
Thanks.
We got another mayor waiting in the wings here. Let's.
Can I shamelessly plug the First Friday radio chat with the
Oh,
mayor?
yeah, please
First
do
Friday
that.
chat with the mayor. Check us out and see what's going on in Cornfield County. Thank you so much.
95.3
Yeah, man.
I love it.
FM.
And
It's on Facebook
95.3, that's
Boom.
right.
See,
That's
I know it.
WDI.
See you, Clint. Good to see you. Mayor Dave
Thanks,
Uran. Give
Mayor.
him a big warm welcome, everybody.
Mayor of the Hub. The Hub City. Hey,
Mayor Dave.
Wow,
How you doing, sir?
That's going to be a tough follow-up act.
No
with-
kidding. Clint's smooth, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. How you doing,
He
Dave?
was up all night practicing. I heard his speech last night.
Ask me some questions. Ask me some more questions.
Yeah, right. He was on his
He's
A
not that
game.
smooth, but he's been practicing.
So now we were talking about trying to hold on to population, and Mayor Dave's got a population explosion going in his
he
city
does.
right now. Congratulations on the
Thanks.
latest census
We
numbers.
went up 24%.
I know, that's crazy.
24%.
Crown Point's such a beautiful, good job, Crown Point.
Without
Such a
a doubt.
wonderful city.
And like you said before, a lot of those Hammond residents,
No,
the workers
seriously.
are coming our way. So
Actually, Crown Point and
we
Hammond
appreciate
have.
the disposable
you-
income that you provide, and they can spend it.
I know. I vet them and pass them on. Like, okay, these citizens are ready for you, Mr. Mayor. No, seriously, my family. A lot of my family lives in Crown Point. My brother Aaron and Christina and the kids, and then my father lives in Crown Point.
Well, I
and-
got to tell you, the boom of Crown Point has literally happened under Mayor Dave.
Yeah,
Under
that's
his
a true story.
Since he was elected, Crown Point. I couldn't even. I mean, you say 24% in the last. Since the last census, but you were elected in 07, right? Am I right about that? So
that's
it's
correct.
basically under Mayor Dave, Crown Point has become this
It's
just
true.
booming community.
Dave said something to me a couple weeks ago. We were talking about the census numbers, right? And it's just a totally different world for me because my residents, I am in charge of. Like, I need to grow my city. I need to build the tax base. I need to bring back to business, right? And then Dave is doing such a good job. You're sort of nervous about the backlash from the citizens.
Like, do we
because
have
you're
the
getting
infrastructure?
You grow
Too
too
big,
fast.
right?
Everybody keeps saying you're going to lose that hometown feel.
Right.
Which
That's what
we're-
your
we're-
residents
We're
say.
still trying to discover exactly what the hometown feel is.
I like your hometown feel in Crown Point.
It's hometown feel is what you have and what you invest in yourself and what you make out of your neighbors and your family in any community. So the hometown feel is not just something you just can pull out of a box and say that's what you have to do. It's what you make of it.
I tell you, Dave, I love Crown Point. I'm not just saying because we're buddies. I think it's a wonderful city. I think you've done a great job, man. I'm like, Crown Point's always been beautiful, but since you've been mayor, it's really exploded.
It's a team effort.
For sure.
You'll hear that all the time. Any mayor will tell you. I mean,
I hardly ever say that, actually.
I always.
It's mostly due to one individual in Hammond. That's just how Hammond is, though.
I'm very sports minded, so I always think that the mayor's the coach, right? Of
I
the,
agree
of the
with you. I agree
organization,
with
and
you.
all the players on the floor are your residents and your
Yeah.
business owners and your employees. So when they're winning, okay, it's those people who are doing that, right? When you lose, it's our fault.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we've got to
because
continue
you're a
to-
leader, you take the blame.
Right. We have to continue to go out there and extract the talents
When-
of our community and make them have the opportunity to do better.
Let me ask you a question. The same one I asked Mayor Clint. I remember where I was when I had a conversation with my dad about running for mayor, and I was like, "What? Like first office? That was your first office, also?"
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I did
Where
run
were
for-
you?
I did run for city council 8 years prior because my plan was to be elected as a city council member. and then 8 years later become mayor.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get the first part,
Right.
but I got the second part.
So how did that go down? Who called you? Was it just you and Katie got together? Or?
Actually, no, Katie really didn't have any. She was more surprised than anybody.
Right.
Because I said, hey, listen, this was
She's
what we're
like,
gonna
yeah,
do.
right.
She's like, what are you going to do?
You're
You know,
mayor?
Yeah. She says, what?
Well, let's
That's a
remember,
good
right?
one.
I mean, Mayor Uran is a
That was
former,
my big. Listen, I had to get her to convince to vote for me. I mean, that was the first step, right?
I mean, Mayor Uran was a former police officer.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
On the
But still,
Crown
like-
Point Police Force.
You know, but like the interesting thing to me as a mayor is like, what was it? Is it like you saw
You know
something
what?
wrong,
I
or-
was like I said, I was a former police officer at the time I left and become a full-time mortgage broker for a bank, and I was still a high school basketball coach at the time. And it was former Mayor Mitros who came to me and says, "Hey, listen, we
There you go.
don't necessarily like to see what 12 years that he put into it was going in the right direction. All
Right.
the infrastructure was being laid out. We're trying to attract new businesses and continue to grow our community. We learned that from your dad.
Yeah.
If you're not expanding and doing different things, you're dying in the vine. You're not going
That's
to be
right.
successful, right?" And so he approached me, and I said, "All right, we'll do this. But if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in and have everybody back me." And I didn't even get the actual endorsement from my local Democratic Party when I first ran. And we just went out there and outworked everybody.
I remember, the chairman at the time. That's right. But that was before I was chairman, and I remember the day Dave and I first met. And you came into office. It was you and Keith Stevens, right? And we
Yes.
talked for a while about running, and I was just like so reminded. His campaign reminded me so much of our first campaign.
Yep. I remember
was
when he
like,
came
"Dave,
in,
you're
too.
doing everything
I remember
the
that
right way."
day.
It was awesome. Like,
It was fun. I mean, we went out there and
and you were in a crowded primary. if
we
I
were,
remember,
we
right?
really were,
That's right.
and we were really innovative. We came out with probably the very first time you ever seen a CD. Use technology.
That's right.
And we put 4 minutes for 4
You
years.
send it to
every
everybody.
household
That's
about
right.
what we're going to do because when
Awesome.
you knock on a door, they're either
Dude, that's so
having
smart.
dinner, they're mowing grass, or getting ready to take their kids somewhere else. They really don't have time for you. Your attention span for those voters would be very short. So we said, listen, don't listen to me now. Just spend 4 minutes, watch this video.
At
We
your
talked
time.
about economic development. We talked about law enforcement. We talked about the growth of the community.
Do people still
quality
have
of
those?
life. People still remind me of that.
Do they give them to you? Like I get gifts from my dad. Like people that bought stuff from my dad or got stuff from my dad, and they give it to me all the time. It's funny. They give me the same stuff over and over. Like my dad used to give out. He had inaugural balls. I know you do also. And Dad always had like champagne glasses at the inaugural balls, and people are always like, "Hey, I got this champagne glass." I swear I have like 150
I got too
of
many
them.
now.
He's like, "You probably bought 5,000."
Throw
of
it
these
out.
things."
So, Mayor Dave, look, again, like I did with Mayor Joe and Mayor Clint, let's fast forward to today. I would call Crown Point kind of a 50-50 town regarding Democrats and Republicans.
That's another good point
Yes.
about
And-
Clint and Dave. They're
Yeah,
both
I
in
mean,
Republican
Democrat.
leaning.
Well, I would. Yeah, right. I mean, it's probably 50-50.
I consider Crown
maybe
Point-
a little leaning R.
It probably has in the history. I mean,
Sure.
I'm only the second elected Democratic mayor in the history of our city.
you and James.
Yes.
Right.
He was the first. I was
James
the second.
Mitros, right.
Yes.
So how do you? I guess kind of same question I asked Mayor Clint. How do you, in a town that maybe is traditionally a Republican town or historically a Republican town, how do you succeed as a Democratic mayor in your city?
Listen, anybody will know me and knows me very well that I really don't care about R's and D's. I really
right.
don't. I really don't. I mean, it's the clerk treasurer for Crown Point is Dave Benson.
One of
He's
your good buddies.
Yeah, he's a Republican. I was his best man in his wedding.
Yeah.
We went to the police academy
You
together.
campaigned for him.
And and I just want to associate myself with people that care about our community.
Yeah.
And throw the
That's
R's
your
and D's
job, by the
away.
way.
That's all. That's the end of the day. That's all we're supposed to do.
I agree with you.
And we've convinced people
I have
that that's
Republican
really our
friends.
mission, and that's yes.
A few.
John's gonna leave.
I mean,
One.
it's
I
funny.
have one.
One.
I mean, whatever. I mean,
And we're not even close
Yes,
friends.
yes.
shaky. We're friends on the
Yes.
podcast. When we're not doing a podcast, screw that.
If it
guy.
wasn't for the
I don't even-
podcast, I mean, I don't know where John
That
is.
separation gets a little deeper as you get away from politics, probably. But I mean, you have to just be able to continue to do what's right for your community, and I think people see that. I think people are turned off on a national front because both the R's and D's can't get along
I
for
agree.
what's the common goal for the.
Can you imagine
for
if you ran
America.
your city like that?
Well, you'd be one and out, one and done.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One and done.
Oh, by the way, one thing I know Dave is really good about. When I was chairman of the
I
party,
think that is,
I was always
Clint,
good.
you're still here. I thought maybe you got in the train was kind
I
of.
was going to say, we knew
I'm
that
thinking
train was
right,
going to
yeah.
go off right in the middle
Perfect
of
timing,
somebody's.
Clint.
Definitely live. Yeah.
No,
Shoot
Mayor
you.
Dave's always been real good about he's very aware of his station in life. He's got a city that he's not going to get too far to the left, too far to the right. He's always just about Crown Point, and I think that's one of the great things you do, man.
One of the best compliments we ever received from a citizen was they came to a council meeting, and after we ran the whole council, as we're a third-class city still, so we have to run as a mayor, we have to run the chair of the meeting. They came up to us and they said they couldn't tell who was a Democrat, who was a Republican.
That's
up
awesome.
there. because the issues were the issues, and people were voting based on what was best for Crown Point.
Of course, that's how.
And
it's
that's the philosophy we put in from day one. So
Todd Young is waving from that train.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah.
So you get back to
Trump flag and Todd Young.
I want to congratulate you on
Thanks, Mayor.
you're throwing your hat in the ring, and
appreciate
I
it.
think
I'm excited.
if Indiana, and especially the district you're going to be running in, can look at the things that you do, to how you fight for Hammond, just imagine what you can do for the rest of that district.
I appreciate that, Dave. And
You
Dave,
know.
you and I mess with each other constantly, right? But you're a great friend, and I look at how you do things, and I want to do. That's how I'm gonna have to be like you, Mayor Clint. I have to be like successful with crossover vote in Indiana to have any chance. And I think I'm the kind of guy that can get people across because I'm not your prototypical, Democrat. So
If you want more success in local community government, you've got to put some people who have the experience in local government and put them in Washington, D.C.
yeah, that's
the
right.
only way you're going to bridge that gap, because there's a huge disconnect because they don't see things at a local level.
Congress polls at like 18% or lower, right? And
18's
then I always,
probably on a good day.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
they're
I
happy
always
about
say-
that. Well, we're
Yeah.
doing well. We're
Right.
doing well.
But like, if people want to change Congress, you do it one person at a time. It's like that's how you change it. You can't just keep sending Todd Young back and expecting everything to change. We got to change him to change DC. We got to change Braun to change DC. I mean, that's how you do it. And if you're not willing to do that, then just stop griping, really, right?
I mean, you bring it up. I know that you're very active on social media, probably more than most.
Not anymore.
Clint's
I
pretty
turned over
good too.
to-
I follow what happens on Sullivan all the time on social media. But you look at those things, and you had Senator Young, who was part of that supposedly that bipartisan
Yeah.
bill for infrastructure.
You're
Which
starting to
was
get hopeful. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this
Hey,
is going to
listen,
work.
let me help craft this for you. Let me put it all together.
Yeah.
We like this. Dot the i's, cross the t's, and I'm not going to sign it because I think it's a worthless bill. You helped create it.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Ridiculous.
It just
right?
goes to show you that there are certain people that are worried about a primary, and I think they don't have to go too far back to see Dick Lugar lose a primary, right, in 2010.
True story.
Biggest statesman the state of Indiana's had in who knows how long. We didn't even run a candidate against him one year.
They got
And,
a volleyball
he gets
net down there.
primaried.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
They got
Squirrel.
a volleyball net down there.
Tom is
Mayor
distracted.
got
This is a
distracted
new
by a
thing.
volleyball
This is
net.
a new thing. They got a volleyball net.
Mayor Tom.
It's the Young Dems.
Oh.
Do they always do that? That's
All
what I'm
right.
saying. See, I know tradition.
There's not even a
That's
volleyball game going on. He's just distracted by the net.
No, you know what? The thing about French Lick that's cool is if you go to French Lick, if you took me in a future year and you just dropped me off on Friday, I would know where to go because I've been doing it, right? And I know when shit is different. That's different. I've never
Look at
seen
him.
it before.
Wow.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Look
We've
what,
never
you
had
look what
volleyball.
you notice up here from the porch.
That's
Right.
right. Hey,
Mayor
you
Dave.
show me
Have
one
to-
thing different during
Help
this week,
me.
and I'm going to tell you. I've been at like
Kevin,
20
it's all
of
yours.
them, right?
But no, I mean, that's the look at. Look how observant this mayor is.
That's right. I
mean,
noticed these things.
He's
Yes.
he's
That's
doing.
right.
He's,
I noticed these things.
It's another
polyphasic
polite way to
mayor.
put
He's
it.
able to handle a show and at the same time make sure his surroundings are it's quality of life issues.
Like, wait a second. That's a volleyball game going over there.
He's like deep in Kevin's deep into like how he fell in love, how he
Yeah, let's talk about the Senate race.
Tom's
maybe.
like,
whoa, volleyball.
Well, Mayor Dave,
Oh, man.
we appreciate you coming
I
on, man.
appreciate
Always
it.
a good
And
friend.
We're still looking for that Hammond Crown Point Olympics.
I'm
But
looking
still, we're
for it
ready.
too.
You know,
It sounds like
we're
a lot
ready.
of work.
I know we let you pick a few of the sports that hopefully you can win. Bowling was one of yours.
Bowling is
so
great.
We
I'm
made
a
sure of
great
that, so
bowler.
it's not a complete shutout. So yes,
Dave says that because they got spanked one year in bowling. So from Hammond.
How about the
if I remember correctly, Jeff Long and Phil Taylor were on that team. That was
despite
that was
their
a good-
efforts, you still won.
It was one of my favorite days actually
It
as
was.
mayor. Yeah,
It
you
was.
know.
Wait. How about
That's why we
the-
have a Crown
how-
Point bowling pin in the studio.
How about the Crown Point Hammond competition here, the shotgun clay pigeon shooting? I think we destroyed Crown Point.
I don't
didn't
think
we?
I don't know.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I
I
think one of your
I don't
team
remember a
members has
destruction.
a long-lasting. Yes, we're not
.0.
going to mention anybody's names,
Brett.
but I believe somebody from the Hammond team
Like,
is still.
let's just put it this way: if I blindfolded somebody here and I took them out and I said, "Okay, pool," and then they just shot a shotgun,
Yeah.
I think they'd hit one,
Yes.
right? Out of 50,
you think one out of
you would
50.
hit one, right? If you're blindfolded, you would hit one, right? So
Right.
we take my brother out. I'm just gonna let you guess which
Aaron's
brother
like,
it is.
Aaron's like,
Aaron's
can
like,
you
not
please?
this brother, right?
not Aaron, but
It was Brett McDermott. Let's be honest.
Rhymes
Okay?
with Barron.
0.0, like out of 50.
Wait, are you serious?
Tom's such a great big
I don't
brother.
remember
So,
Yeah.
so the best part of this. Sorry, Brett. I love you.
his,
wherever you are.
his next successful
He's
hit
over
on
there.
a clay
What's
pigeon
up,
will be
Brett?
his
Want
first.
to come and defend yourself?
Wow.
So the crazy part is, so like the rumor starts to circulate around the shotgun area. This guy's got a perfect score going, right?
Yeah.
right? And then so we get up
No
to
pressure.
we get up to the last. What do they call it? Like the whole whatever
Station.
Station. Thank you. I should know that. So they get up to the last station, and everybody starts coming over to watch it, and they pull. Brett's hands are like this the
He
whole
had no
time.
chance that time.
There's so many
No
people
chance.
watching him. They're like, "Come on, man, just hit one."
I hear he's just as bad as foot golf. In foot golf. We heard
All right.
It's a
Well,
complete
so-
opposite of a 300 bowling game.
It was a perfect score
Yes,
though.
the wrong way.
But the good news is his picture's hanging over there. It's really
is.
nice. So
It's a-
love you, Brett. Squirrel.
Mayor Dave.
Well, thanks for
Mayor
having
Dave.
me on here. Congratulations again.
We got Destiny Scott Wells coming as our next guest. I'm looking
at
back to
this.
see. Hi, Destiny. How's it going? Good to see you,
All
Mr.
right.
Mayor.
It's about time.
Thanks, brother. Good. Mayor Dave Uran, everybody, give it up for him.
Thanks, Mayor.
Look at that volleyball. What a volleyball match.
Yeah. Hi,
tell
Destiny.
ya.
How's it going? Welcome to LOCPOD,
Happy to be here.
live from the French Lick patio.
Right.
How you doing? Well, could you introduce yourself, Destiny?
Destiny Scott Wells. I'm one of the deputy chairs. So Chairman Schmull appointed 5 of us to kind of, help get out in the state and spread the work. So I'm in charge of coalitions and expansions. So
I saw that on your card. Coalitions and
So
expansion.
what is that?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I was
it's-
going to ask you that.
I'll let you ask next time. Sorry.
Okay.
I communicate with all our affinity groups, our outside nonpartisan groups that may have interests that align with us, and then the big one, the one that gets feathers ruffled, is
Drum roll.
the caucus expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we want more caucuses within the state party?
Is it
We already have
caucuses or is
some.
it cockeye?
We've had that discussion before.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
like squirrel.
ES.
That's the first time I've been asked that.
Really?
Yeah.
For real?
So yeah.
Welcome to LOCPOD. Who knows what you're going to be asked the next 10
right.
minutes?
The look in her eyes right now is
She's
why
like,
did
caucus
I
is doesn't
come on
agree?
LOCPOD?
Caucuses doesn't sound right.
Neither does cockeye.
Cockeye
Agreed.
does
Thank
not
you.
either. We got to figure out a new word, okay?
I'm with
So anyway.
Destiny on that.
So what part of the state are you from, Destiny?
I'm originally from drumroll Martinsville.
Martinsville.
Yeah.
right up the
John
road.
Zodi.
Yeah, right.
David Fry.
Right.
Got some Martinsville people in the
Uh-huh,
party, but I
right.
live downtown in Indianapolis. now.
Awesome. And you have a very interesting occupation. Right.
Part time? Are
Yeah.
we talking about the military thing?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm here in my individual capacity. Nothing I say
Right.
represents the opinions of the Department of Defense.
We'll put up the footnote.
John can flash that probably.
I'm a military intelligence officer in the Army Reserve.
That's super cool.
Been at it for about 18 years, so two
Wow.
more.
Two
more. I
more.
can best retirement.
Were you ever active duty full time or was it always through reserve?
No, but I've done an active duty mobilization down at Fort Hood on a general staff as his intel person, and I just made lieutenant colonel, and I was in Afghanistan 16 through 17. So
Wow.
the airport that you're seeing that's being overran, that's actually
You've
where I
been
was
there.
primarily stationed.
No kidding.
way.
Right, so
Is
I
it-
worked in headquarters. I actually got in a 4-hour mortar engagement there when General Madison, SecDef Mattis flew into town. They saw a sparkly plane,
Mm-hmm.
He apologized later. He wasn't even there.
But so
Mad dog.
Mad dog.
Now that you see
Good
now
call,
that you
John.
see what's going on, obviously being there and knowing the situation, it was a no-win situation for America at that point, right?
Right, it was a no-win, but I think we're all entitled to our opinions, and I
Right.
think the the execution could have been better planned.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually was in charge of the linguist contract. There were like 3 of us, about 1,000 linguists on that contract. So I mean, I intimately,
translators,
I
right?
know who, linguists,
You know who these
translators,
people are trying to get out.
interpreters.
That's so sad. I'm so sorry.
Right, and they're
Destiny.
good. I mean, it was. I guess the rub for me is that Afghans didn't want to fight for themselves because
Yeah.
they did.
I agree.
We took away their close air support, their intel, and still they showed up to work every day, and they weren't being paid, and they weren't having resources, and they still showed up, and they were getting slaughtered in the tens of thousands in the last couple of years.
So be careful about that narrative.
Right. But to be teased out in history for the decades to come.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's so sad.
So how long have you been with the state party?
I've been with the state party since May.
Nice. So you're brand new in the role.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you how that works. So
Got these cool cards.
When I got back from
look at that.
Afghanistan, I ran into Chairman Schmull. So I saw Mike at Mayor Pete's office then. It's called a Truman National Security Organization.
Uh-huh.
And saw him there. and was in Hoosierman Forward recently, Class 3. So the women's
Hoosier
leadership
Women Forward?
Yeah, it's a
You know
women's-
Heather Gray? I know she was part of that class. She was, I think, in the first class. She's back there.
Yeah, I don't think I've met.
She was
had the
a
opportunity to meet
Hammond's,
Heather.
Hammond's former city controller. She's an excellent young lady. She was, I
Awesome.
think she was in the first or second class.
I want to say
Awesome.
second because I
Yeah.
think Mara recruited her to get in the next class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're number 3.
Yep, and we just put on Class 4. They're starting soon, so another dynamic class.
How long of a class is that? The Hoosier Women
It's
Forward?
like from August till May, and you meet once a month, and it's leadership development. And Sarah Vitale's back there. She also was in the class,
Awesome.
and so, I started to get involved, and during reorg, I just approached Mike and I said, hey, I don't know shit about campaigns, but I have been in the service this long, and a lot of things you are saying are so similar to how we build organizations out in the military, so let me know if you need any help.
And I could tell you from my point of view, the DNC was real interested in me 4 or 5 years ago because of my military background. Because I think our party is really trying to put veterans
Right.
forward, like yourself, like myself, forward, so that other people in the public could see, hey, there's.
I think some people assume like anybody in the military must be Republican. I
Yeah.
really think some people
I think honestly,
that. I
the
think
Republican Party views
Right.
veterans
it's
as
about
95%
defining identity
their-
again, right?
I agree with
and
you.
I think
Total
having
false
people like
binary.
Destiny
And that's why it's important to have
in the
Destiny
party.
in the party.
Yeah,
right?
it's important because
And
that's who we
leading
have.
the party in in a leadership role like you are. It's
For
wonderful
sure.
for all of us.
For sure.
Well, when I promote caucuses, cockeye.
Cockeye, yeah.
I,
You
Thank
can
you
use
very
both
much. It makes me feel-
interchangeably at this
I
point.
always talk about veterans, right? So how we have veterans in the Veterans Caucus, which isn't certified through the party, but I want it to be. 640,000, they qualify as veterans, anybody that ever raised their right hand. And if we followed the DNC and it was veterans and families, I mean, that's hundreds of thousands more.
Right.
That would be bigger than a congressional district. Why are we not engaging
That's right. I was
veterans?
great call.
I was co-chair of the Veterans and Military Families Council at the DNC for 4
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
And think about like how red counties are when you have a veteran who outwardly identifies as a Democrat. It really causes people to stop and say like, "Wait, they're a Democrat."
We saw that
Yeah.
last night at the Orange
Yeah.
County. I mean, Mayor ran
Yeah.
into like 5 guys having beers out on
And
the
these-
patio.
All Republicans.
And-
I
and-
stopped and talked
yeah.
to them, and I blew their mind being, the cops, the police officers support me, and I support them. I support gun rights, and I'm also a veteran. And I just blow their mind. They're like, "You're a Democrat?" Yeah, I'm a Democrat. You
But
know,
I-
and
it
we
goes
all
back
there's
to
all
that
kinds
whole
of Democrats.
how are we
Like,
gonna
it's a
define
big
ourselves?
tent, right?
That's right.
Very similar to you. Like I've, when I was a deputy AG, my client was Department of Correction.
Nice.
Actually, a lot like the military.
Yeah,
the
right.
rank and structure, but you
Probably
know,
more freedom for them, though.
also defended IMPD officers. So, in civil litigation, I'm tired of hearing that Jim Banks is a veteran, or Todd Young, because to me, and David's heard me say this, David Zimba's off frame, but Todd Young stopped being a Marine on January 6th,
Yeah.
and I'm sick of hearing it.
I love that. That is so important what you just said. That is so important what you just said. We raised our right hand, swore to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? Domestic enemies attacked the United States Congress, and they're trying to whitewash it. It's a joke. It disgusted me. Honestly, that was a big reason. Thank you very much. That was a big reason I filed. That was a big reason why I'm moving forward. I'm like, how this guy forgot all the training he got. He went to Annapolis, one of the best schools in the country.
But he ended his tour at a recruiting station in Chicago.
Yeah,
You'll have a chance to remind him of that.
I will remind him. I'm going to have to talk to Destiny to get more good attack lines. She's got them lined up.
You'll have to talk to Todd's troops, and
So, Destiny, if I could ask you, as I got to look at your title again. I'm sorry. The Deputy Chair of Coalitions and Expansion. What are the goals for moving into 2022?
So moving into 2022, actually, I was railing on this last night, was that, we need to engage our groups and be a little bit more prescient with the issues that are down the road. For example, I was talking to Mayor Tom. Dobbs v. Jackson is coming down next spring, summer. That is women's abortion, reproductive freedom. And, hey, look to Poland, look to Latin America. When you take away women's reproductive freedom, they're out in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They're out in the streets. So we... protesting. And so, we have the Women's Council in the party. We need to actively engage. We need to start coalescing around these issues together. That's why I thought that was a great place to start, because you have so many different groups. It's just not women. Women who are in Stonewall, women who are in IDAC. And so we all need to start coming together and start to think about 2022 and what we can do, field better candidates, voter engagement. For the party, we need to get Democrats elected. And we need to best utilize these groups to get those Democrats elected.
You rock. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Destiny Scott Wells, everybody. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
All
So,
right.
Kev,
Well,
what do you think?
how did we do on the porch? This was fun.
Not bad. We had a couple glitches, but
I
couple
think overall
couple
good work.
glitches. Yeah, it was great. I love it. And when are we going back on the air full time? Is it next Tuesday, right?
John's like, I don't know, November,
I plan
December.
I plan not to talk to Vesmar again until we go back on.
August
I'll see
31st.
I'll see you in the studio that morning. Sound good?
August, 10 more days.
10 more days of freedom.
It's gonna be wonderful, John. And then back to the grind. So
We're back in the studio. I just want to thank again French Lick Resort for letting us do this.
Yeah.
Indiana Democratic Party Chairman Mike Schmuel, Lauren Ganapini,
Yep.
all her staff, all Mike Chairman Mike's
Anderson,
staff,
right?
our guests, Drew
Clint-
Anderson,
Clint Lamb, Dave Uran,
Mayor
Destiny
Joe
Scott
Hogsett.
Wells, Mayor Joe Hogsett. It was a great show. All-star studded cast.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, by the way,
Thank
to John
you to the
Vesmar.
volleyball net.
John Vesmar did a lot of work for this. I think we would both agree.
John worked hard. He was out here at 8:30 this morning. So
Yeah, I don't know why he was out here at 8:30. I'll be honest with you, but I
John,
appreciate it.
John's
so.
a preparer.
Failing to prepare is preparing.
They
to
were trying to
fail,
get me
guys.
out here. They're like, "Hey, 8:30, let's get out there and we'll set up for the show." I'm like, "We go on at 1:30. We're going up 5 hours early."
Not true. I knocked on the wrong door. That's the only reason you
You
knew
woke
this.
me
right.
up.
You're supposed to be knocking on my door. I want to thank
You
Jim
woke me
Talon
up.
for
I was
bringing
like,
water. Thank
I
you,
was like,
Jimmy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you,
guys
Jim, for the
But
water.
Again, thanks to French Lake Resorts for letting us do the first ever podcast from the patio at French Lake. We're going to run with that anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for subscribing to LOCPOD. Remember, you can rate, subscribe, and review. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 Central Time, 7:30 a.m. Every Tuesday and Friday, excuse me, 7:30. Why? You were waiting to jump on me, right?
No,
Tuesday
it's just-
and Friday.
man, it's coming back.
It's coming back. Season 4, season premiere. We're lining up guests. And
Subscribe.
yeah, I
Listen to
heard
all
we
the
got
old
a new guest.
episodes. You got
I
a
heard-
couple new weeks to
I heard we got a new guest.
catch up
and
on 90 episodes.
I heard we got a new sponsor this year.
Do we?
Right, we,
I'm saying Chico's bail bonds.
we were going to do like the Bad News Bears. Like, hey, thanks to Chico's Bail Bonds for sponsoring season 4.
And you know what? Before I
so-
forget, I should thank our sponsors: Power in America, Tortillas Nuevo Leon, Tri Electronics, Grisolia's Concrete, and Byway Brewery.
Thank you to them.
Tortillas Nuevo.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
I haven't heard that song in a long time, but we're getting back. We will see you not Tuesday coming up, the following Tuesday. We go back for season
August
4.
31.
We're excited, but thank you for watching Left of Center live from the patio at French Lick. We appreciate all of you. And to the live studio audience, we appreciate you as well. And we will talk to you guys next week. Thank you, everybody.